Hey, what's up everyone? Random Porpoise here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I made Energy Rush, which is my new level that I just released today actually. I did have some problems with the release of it, which I will go into detail in this video. You might have seen a video uploaded earlier today, or maybe yesterday, or whenever this video is going out, I don't know. But on the day of the verification, you guys might have seen a video earlier in the day like, oh, blah, 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 trouble uploading. I'll explain everything. But yeah, this is the level. The ID's here. It's 919-74476. If you guys want to go check it out, it's an insane demon. So if you can beat Space Lock 2, you could beat this. I think it's on the easier end of insane demons, but also I don't know. I've had this layout that I've been playing over and over again for like fucking 3 years almost. So yeah, this level. If we just go in here. I do have a bunch of like backup copies of it and shit. But let's just go to the editor. Let's give it a sec to load. If we go into the pause menu, we'll see it does have exactly 269,000 objects, with 150,000 of being in low detail mode. So basically, if you play in low detail mode, it does half the object count, which I think is pretty good. I don't know. I've never really optimized the level though. It is 2 minutes and 1 second long, so it is just barely in XL. And yeah, so I'm just gonna go through each part kind of chronologically, just explain everything. At least how it appears in the level, because I built the parts in a weird order. I started this layout like way back in September 2020, and then I built that up to the first two previews throughout kind of 2021, and then after I beat Aftermath, I kind of just stopped playing the game for about like 10 months, I think. I don't know, it was a pretty long time. And then in 2022 for spring, I came back, I did a bunch of work, and then I released Preview 3, and then I quit the game again. And then back like mid-May, I'd say, I saw some like Aeon Air video talking about how 2.2 is apparently going to be released soon because it like something about GD getting taken off the Google Play Store. And I was like, shit, I should probably get Energy Rush done before 2.2 comes out. So I forced myself to come back, and I finished the level. First part. So yeah, I guess let's just start. I don't know how to do this. It's been a while since I made a video, but this first part. The first two parts actually you guys have not seen until the verification. That's because, well, this first part, the gameplay is brand new, brand spanking new. I actually built this first part just so the level could be XL. I'm gonna be completely honest, there's no other reason for this first part to exist besides me saying, oh yeah, Energy Rush is 2 minutes long. I want it to be pretty simple, kind of decoration to kind of, I guess, have some tension. Like, I want it to be not that flashy, but also, I don't really know, but it's hard to explain. But I want it to help kind of build up to the kind of chaos that starts after this. Because if you could play the music, it kind of, I feel like this kind of matches the music. But so what I did, the block design, let's just look at this block here. Well, the spikes is just, I have a spike on the inside of each spike, a smaller one that's my main color, which is color 3. But the block design, first off, over black base blocks, I made these little blending glow pillars, which I love using. I'm addicted to them. Just kind of make this cool, like, gradient. And if I just bring it down here, oh wait, no, hold on, I'm gonna bring it up actually, just so I can work with it better. Basically, the way you do it, is you make a pillar like this right here, set it to whatever color you want with blending, and then stack it on top of each other and bring it down a bunch, and you get this cool thing. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, there's that, and then I have some lines, and that's literally the whole block design. And then I added like some black glow on the bottom, the top of the screen to kind of give it kind of a claustrophobic sort of atmosphere, like a tight atmosphere, kind of like you're in a cave or something. I don't really know, but I feel like it works well. And then for the background, I just have this like maze of like these like larger connector objects in the background. That kind of slowly moves along. But yeah, and then I have this little part here dedicated to Laser Blitz. He's my favorite creator. I'm in love with his levels. I'm actually going for Auditory Breaker right now, so we'll see how that pans out. And there might be a video soon, there might be a video in 4 months, there might not be a video, who knows. But yeah, Laser Blitz's levels are awesome, and as you can see, my creating style takes a lot of inspiration. But now we're on to the official beginning, which was redone. If you guys remember, for the first 2 previews, the beginning, well, the first one was red, and the second one was blue, but they were both similar. It was just the color that was changed. And so basically, I just hated the beginning. It wasn't up to par with the rest of the level, in my opinion. It felt more like a part. The style was more of from the Extermination, which I hate that level. I'm not proud of that level at all. It's a mess. The beginning, I just completely redid to kind of, because I had improved a lot at creating since I made the beginning. So it's basically, I just have these black blocks with, I think it's color 1. Not group 11. Yeah, color 1, which in most of the level is white, but I have it pulse through the rainbow, cycle through the rainbow as the block design. I just have these designs with just that color. It's monochromatic. And then for the background, I had this cool art piece sort of thing. Okay, it's on 2 layers, but I have this thing. It's the same one that happens after the first duel, but I decided to put it as the background. Definitely not because I'm lazy. It was that's not even like a sarcasm. I mean, part of it was because I'm lazy, but the main reason, I was thinking of background ideas. I'm like, oh, I should have something to tie the level together. And so I remember this art thing I made. I'm like, that's kind of a cool, like, sort of space power plant sort of thing. Yeah, I don't really know what it's supposed to be, but it looks cool. So I decided to put it as the background, and I think it works fine. It's a little weird, but it suits its purpose. And I did actually, in the last part, I decided to use this background again, just to kind of, because my main goal with the last part was to make it look like this part, just so you kind of have, like, the tying up loose ends sort of thing. But yeah, in this part, it does have a duel where it used to be just straight fly here. So stupid. And then the title card, I used these pixels, and I have 2 layers of them. One that's slightly darker and behind, and moves down slightly below. But each letter moves down, and then there's the other letter behind it that moves down right after to kind of have a cool effect. I don't really know what to call it, but each letter is color 3, which is my main color, which I cycle through, like every color in the rainbow, because who wants just one color in a level, you know? And then each letter, I think, is plus 30. Yeah, it's a difference of 30 on the HSV slider, on the hue slider. And so when I cycle through all the colors with these triggers, it makes this cool, like, makes that cool rainbow effect, or shifting. I love using that effect. I've used it a bunch. But yeah, on to the drop. This first part of the drop here, up until the wave, this is the oldest part. It still remains an energy rush. Basically what I did, and the entire first drop, I used this technique. For the base blocks, let me find what layer they're on. What I did, for this part I used slopes for it, but I took my main color, and then I copy and paste the block layer down, and then I went into the HSV slider and turned the brightness down. That's what I meant to say. I turned the brightness down until it went to the bottom. And so it kind of gets darker to kind of give it a bit more flair. And then the block designs, I just did some of my traditional block design tactics. I mostly use these, like, hold on, let me grab it. These 3D line objects. That's like my favorite object in the game. It just, you can make so many nice looking designs with it, honestly. And then for the air deco, I want it to be, if you've seen Lightning Speed by Laser Blitz, there's this one part, it's kind of towards the beginning. It's like, I don't know, if I remember, I'll edit it in right here. But it's pretty, like, it feels neon-y with the air deco. It's just black in that color, and it's kind of glowy. So I decided to do something like that. And then this spider part, I just want to have these cool, like, pillars that go throughout the whole structure for the block design. And I just gave them a gradient, because, you know, gradients are nice. And then I did do some pulses, which pulses the opposite color of the current part. And then I think it pulses to white or something. I don't know. I don't remember how the pulses work, but I do have pulses. So yeah, and then this wave part, again, so some nice rainbow shifting. And then you can do this by, again, with the HSV slider, and then just adding a gradient on the pillars. And then I did the background. I just had a blue background and then a white laser kind of going over it. For this next part, it's basically all the same stuff, really, as the other part of the drop. This part here, where the music goes like that, I have it pulsed, I pulsed the white to black and the black to white. I don't know, I feel like that helps add some energy, which is something I should definitely have in this level, considering it's called Energy Rush. But yeah, I used the same tactics really throughout the rest of this part. I do like this spider part though. I love I feel like this is where I really like started to get good at block design. Or at least like closer to my current standard of block design. Like I can't really say if it's good because it's mine and there's gonna be that bias. But I'm proud of it, and from what I've heard, people like it. Yeah, this next part originally was black and white, but I didn't like it, so I changed it. I didn't change the gameplay because I love the gameplay here, which is perfectly synced to the orbs. But I just made this part, this first section, you go around ground spikes, which do have, and then on the foreground, I do have these blending glow things again, just this time at a lower opacity. Yeah, they're at 50% opacity, and that kind of adds a nice little shine. And then the music changes a bit here, so every click, one of these big arrow things moves down and then fades out. I think that's a cool effect. But yeah, so the block design, what I did, I took a slope, and I copy and pasted it down, and each time I changed it on the hue for the blocks, and then I have a loop here of my main color switching, and I'll just play that. So it has this cool effect of like the colors fading out through the rainbow. I think it's really cool. Then the block designs, they're just white. That's it. That's all I have to say. It's just kind of put a bunch of objects in, and if it looks good, it looks good. If it doesn't, try something else. That's what I can say for this kind of part. That's what I did. For the air deco, I have these vertical columns, and then I have, in the background, I think it's on layer 6. It is. I have this cool equalizer thing, which I'm pretty sure Funny Game did back in, like, 1.9 or something. I'm not taking any credit for this, equalizer in the background. But the way it works is I took, these blocks here, which are, like, from 2.0. They're, like, deadlock blocks or something. I don't know. I put them in this cool design here, as like pattern, I guess. And then I took each row and gave them a group. So if you go to group, that's 136. That's also 136. Okay, what the fuck did I do? Hold on. Okay, yeah, that's 137. That's 138, and yeah, and so on. I guess these are just because you can't really see them. And then I made an alpha trigger kind of loop where each row gets toggled on, and the next one gets, like, well, fades on instantly after, and then they fade out. So it kind of pulses, but, like, not all at the same time. It kind of has that, like, rising effect. See what I mean? Oh, so yeah, and then the second part of the duel, it's all the same. This transition here, forgot to mention the transitions. It's just rainbow through 3D objects, and then here's just a UFO spam. You don't even have to spam with that UFO. There's like a click pattern. I forget what it is, but it's pretty easy. And then this duel, again, more the same. And then you go here. Where is it? This is where I originally made the background for the first part, and it still is here. Kind of when you're in this little auto part here, which if I turn off preview mode, you see this little auto part. This kind of goes up on screen, and you come down here, and there's 3 jumps as you increase speed, and then bam!
It's time to fight back.
This part is really intricate. This part I really like. It's not that, I'm gonna be honest, I did take a lot of inspiration from Parallax, who made this sick, kind of Laser Blitz style tutorials, which I found, and I watched them like, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna try that. And I did try it, and then this part was the result. I will, if I remember to, I'll link those in the description, because I think they're very helpful tutorials. And they kind of really detail how Parallax does his block design, and I guess how Laser Blitz does too, but it feels a bit different from Laser Blitz's style. I don't know. Anyways, so the basic rundown, the core concept is with the 3D objects, let's just go here, you kind of make a structure with them and then make overlaying structures on top of the other 3D objects and like parallelograms. And that's kind of my driving force behind most of this part. And I have black base blocks with mainly white and my main color details. And then some black details also. So what you could do also is kind of have inlets. Like right here, this looks like it's an inlet, but it's actually just 2 black 3D lines that are placed on top of the white one to make it look like that. And I did that a bunch. And that's like the driving force behind the block design. For the air deco, it's just a lot of vertical stuff. Like, let me find a good example. Like right here, this column here, it's kind of like a little track for a moving object that moves down. And what you do, you just make black blocks going up and down with white outlines. Make sure they're 3D outlines so you can go through them. And then you add glow to the inside, and you make it aligned to where your block is. So you do that, and then that's kind of the main type of air deco. And then I also did a bunch of other vertical stuff. Another thing, actually, I forgot. These kind of plasma cages, I call them, that are on the inside of the blocks. These, if you remember at the beginning, I showed you kind of the strat where you make the blending glow pillars. It's basically just a bunch of those stacked on top of each other. Yeah, very, not very object friendly. It's very object heavy. I'll admit that it's not the best optimized. This whole level's pretty shitty optimized though. And then the last thing I think I need to mention is these pillars, which I kind of copy and paste right at the part. I just think they look cool. That's it. I just like them. So I copy and pasted them a bunch when I was too lazy to do block design. And also it's nice to kind of have a bunch of pillars that open up like that. I think it's a cool effect. But yeah, I also have these things, which are the slope things that Laser Blitz does that I completely ripped off. But yeah, a lot of it's more the same. And then I do have this like cool structure that I copy and pasted a bunch at the level, made it 3D lines. Yeah, I think that's about it for this part. Oh yeah, and then the foreground, I do have like a blending screen, but that's whatever. This next part, I call it the space part, because it's themed to space. This is where I really started kind of investigating what I wanted Energy Rush to be. Like, at least the theme of it. Because beforehand, I mean, yeah, it was like tech themed, Laser Blitz themed. Well, I mean, my style is Laser Blitz style. It's kind of a ripoff of that, I'm going to be honest. But, I mean, there wasn't a general direction. Like, I was like, yeah, I want it to be, like, I want this part to look like this and whatnot, blah, 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 blah. But I didn't really know where to, like, take it. As far as where those ideas really started developing, I think. And basically, what I've decided is Energy Rush is loosely based around some sort of energy power plant in like a futuristic society, so like it's in space. So what I did, I made these for the background. I have this cool like thingy. I don't really know. It's just like it shoots a beam, and it looks cool. And then I have these are supposed to be like comets in the background, so you kind of feel like you're in space. And I feel like I got the space vibe really well in this part. For the block design, what I did, let me find a more empty one so I can see better. Here, this one. I mainly made it so I started with my main color as a base block. Then on top of that, I added these slopes in gray, and they get lower opacity as you go down. These are all just slopes, like, layered and slightly spaced out. So that creates, like, a cool... It feels kind of like a spaceship. And then on top of it, I just used the same block design techniques as the last part with the 3D lines and adding stuff on top of it. And I think this part is... I still don't know how to feel about it, though. I mean, I really like the vibe, but there's something about it. I feel like I might have tried too hard. Like, there's so many objects in this part, and I feel like I don't know if it has that payoff. Like, some blocks, like this one right here, I love this block. Let me find... Like, this one here is super nice. There's one somewhere down here. This one here, I love. This one's super intricate and, like, detailed, and this one, too. And then there's some that I'm just not as proud of, like this one. I feel like it's just... There's a weird imbalance that I don't know how to describe. But the air deco is pretty much the same. I did add these, like, blending pillars again, just kind of around, just because to kind of add more chaos, I feel like. That's what I think it does. I don't really know. But that was kind of the intention. And then I also have these little glow kind of spike pillars. Let me find a good one. Like, right here. Basically just have two small spikes, and then a bunch of glow stacked on top of each other to create this kind of beam effect. Yeah, very object heavy, I'll say that. Yeah, and then this part, it's just the same techniques. For air deco, it's literally just the same stuff as the last part. And then this wave, boy, I redecorated this wave like a million times. Because I want it to be different than this part, because it doesn't really feel connected to the rest of this part. But at the same time, I also didn't want it to be too much because it's kind of a transition part. I eventually settled for kind of some foreshadowing for the next duel. It's kind of foreshadowing it's going to go rainbow again by using the hue slider. And I just kind of use some blending stuff. And that's literally it. And then I do have basically some more foreshadowing. I have your icon. These are actually player colors, by the way. It's my icon, but it is player color, so that kind of pops up in the transition. And there's another one somewhere. Let me find it. Here it is. Another one pops up. There's two of them that pop up. The other one's kind of reverse color, so what you'd see in a duel. And you can kind of see that. It's hard to tell because where the triggers are. And there also is a question mark, if I can select it. There you go. See, there's a question mark that also pops up. And that's kind of like, oh, what's happening? We're going to duel. And then you go to duel. This part looks like chaos. Let me see if I can break it down. Alright, so we'll start with like the kind of the driving force, which I wanted this to, since it was another crazy dual part, just like the first part, I want it to be full rainbow. And I want it to be like the two dual parts, I want to be both the hardest parts of the level and the most kind of chaotic decoration. And I think I did that well. They're both use the same rainbow effect where there's a bunch of objects that kind of are going down in different hues, and then I think it's on layers here. Yeah, there's a color looping effect. But this one goes to the next level. So basically, for the background, I have a bunch of scaled down slopes in this pattern with that. Very scaled down. And then for a bunch of the block designs, like this one here, I have a bunch of small pixels doing that effect. Actually, I just remembered, I used, this is my second time using it. The first time, if you guys remember last year, I uploaded a part, like I decorated a part of Kratos by Tried, and I used the same exact technique that I did for the blocks. So I'll go into a bit more detail in a sec, but it's the same exact detail, which is pretty cool. And Tried did like it. It got in Tried's video, and he was like, damn, this is cool. Well, he didn't say that exact words, but I think he liked it. It sounded like he did. I'll link that video in the description if I remember. It's a really cool video. But yeah, so that's the main kind of core element. And I used a bunch of the block designs and the backgrounds. And then I do have the stars from the comments or whatever from the previous background continuing, but not the power plant because that was just too much. But then for the rest of the block design, I added the fading indivisible blocks in like a maze on top of it, like these fellers, on top of the parts that had the pixels, because I think it looks nice. I really like the chaotic just mess of the invisible blocks. And then for the parts that were like, and then for some of the blocks, mainly the ones that were just too weird to structure with the pixels, I added a black base, and then I kind of have these structures on top of them that just use 3D objects, these ones, and then I just mix them with white and my main color. I think that's everything for this part. And I did keep the block design a bit more simple because this part... Oh, and for the foreground, I do have these blending things on top just to kind of add more. And I always forgot, I do have a foreground. This thing's kind of like just follows you. It's just there. It's just there to make it kind of make the screen like more filled out, I guess. And you didn't see anything over there. But if we select this entire part, yeah, it's 50,000 objects basically, which that's why I didn't really want to go too much with like the block designs and like there's just design in general, because there's so many pixels, there's so much going on, and it's so much objects, and I just decided it was that it looked good enough and it was okay for me to not do any like real air deco. So yeah, and this part's also, if I remember, semi-optimized. Like, yeah, I cut out a bunch of the pixels over the blocks where I could, where, like, they weren't moving, so it wouldn't interfere. And then, like, in these pillars here, I don't have any pixels under them. They're actually clear. It's just the background pixels here. But, yeah. There's just a lot. I'm really proud of this part, but, like, I wish I'd thought of a different idea for this part, because it's just so many objects, you know? And then we get to another transition part, it's just kind of black, and it kind of fades to white. This next part, this is one of my favorite things that I've ever made, because this is I think this might have been the first part I made that was like 100%, actually no, 99%, I'll tell you why in a second, original. And that's the 2-color part. I don't remember seeing, I don't think I had really any inspiration for this. I know Parallax did not a similar thing, but he did do a part in Novus, which was themed around having 2 colors, one on the top, one on the bottom. But I don't, if I remember correctly, I wasn't really thinking about that when I came up with the idea for this part. But he did do it before me, so that's worth noting, I guess. But yeah, what I did is I added a new color, color 16 in my case, which whenever color 3 switches, color 16 switches to something that works well with that color or something. Like a different color, so it has 2 colors and that goes around the part. But what I did for the air deco, I really just did a background because I thought that I couldn't think of any good ideas for air deco, where it's kind of a beam with the 2 colors, but they're reversed. So on the bottom here, it's light blue, and the top it's dark blue, but the background is switched here. And then over that, I added a white beam in the middle, like just like in the rainbow wave part from earlier. And then I added this block maze here. Not block maze, the connector maze thing. It's the same. It's actually the same exact one as in the very beginning part. When I was making that beginning part, I think I just copy and pasted this maze and put it there on a new group. For the foreground, it's just a bunch of these like slopes made to look like spikes. And then for the block design, what I did, I actually used a lot of the same designs as the first duel, because a lot of those designs you can't really see that well because of the foreground. And because I thought it would work well with this part, and I think it did. But what I did, I made the base blocks white, and then most parts, but then I made them like kind of a mix between white and my main color with slopes. And then I just added white designs on the main color part, and my main color designs on the white parts. And then for the pulsing, I have the white pulses to black and the black foreground pulses to white, just to add more contrast and energy. And yeah, that's pretty much everything, I think. Oh yeah, and then I added again these blending glow pillars. I added them on top and they pulse, and I think it adds like a nice little shine to the blocks. Let me see, what am I forgetting? Oh yeah, this is Kevin, by the way. They're pretty cool. But yeah, he's just here. He tries to eat you as you're flying through him, but you know, it's just how it be. And why is this here? Nerf the ship. I don't think I ever nerfed the ship. Oops. Oh well. Yeah, that's everything for this part, I think. And then the ending. I want it to feel similar to the beginning, that's why the background's the same, and the designs are kind of similar, where they're black and they have the outline, the same color as the outline, although this time I just kept it to be color 3 and not mainly white, but pulsing to color 3, and I do have that cycling through the rainbow. But basically how I did it, there's 2 things I did. I added these cool little glow beams, which are a lot of objects. It's basically just a bunch of blending glows stacked on top of each other. Some are white, some are my main color, and I kind of put those in the blocks. And then I just used mainly these like 3D line objects here. This little fellow. Kind of the outline version of what I usually use to make cool designs. I use that and these like connector pixel things and their connectors to kind of make designs. And I think it looks really well. It kind of gives a cool like neon-y, not neon, but like actually kind of, yeah. Oh no, it reminds me of like Platinum style kind of. And then of course on top of the blocks I had to go with the blending pillars that I'm like addicted to. And they're, I don't know why they look weird. They look like shifted. I think that's just a visual bug in the editor. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this part. And yeah, it goes from a cube, there's a short UFO, and then there's a spider. Yeah. And then the ending, this ending is so tragic. Now I'm gonna get into why this level took an extra like day to get uploaded originally, and I'll show it on screen here. It cycled, each click you did cycled through one of the parts in energy in the level, and I was really proud of it. It was such a cool effect, and you can kind of see some of the remnants of the trigger. There's a bunch of triggers up here, like toggling things on and off. And it just looked so nice to me. I'm so proud of it. I go to upload the level, upload failed. And it turns out that, and I couldn't, no matter what I did, I couldn't upload it. It turns out the reason I couldn't upload is because having 40,000 objects spam toggle on and off within like 2 seconds really isn't a good idea, especially when your level already has over 300,000. So yeah, that was pretty tragic. So I did have to redo that part, and now I decided to kind of make it just a simple, basically nothing there, and I had this like foreground that kind of fades on, so it kind of like fades up to add intensity. And then I'm actually a terrible person, because what I did, this thing here, this last jump, it's fixed hitboxes. Well, this spike here is fixed. Oh my god, this spike here is basically fixed hitboxes because it's kind of moved down a bit. And so yeah, my goal was to, I really hope that if there's like a level people actually play, I really hope people died at this last click. It would be so fucking funny. But yeah, I do really like this part. That last click. I think it's a very nice last click. I don't know if it's too hard. I mean, this level is like an insane demon, and I beat in like 6 extremes. And I do also have progress on Zodiac. I don't really know why, I just kind of do. 56 to 81, I think. That's my best round. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But the point is, like, this level is a lot lower than my skill ceiling, so, or my current skill level. So I don't really know if this jump is too hard. Especially because I buffed it after I had my friend playtest it, and they're like a good skill level for like playtesting it, from what I remember. And he was like, yeah, this jump is good. And then I buffed it afterwards. So yeah, that's, oh, and then the end screen. It's just a lightning bolt. This energy rush, hashtag Levolution, because it's funny. If you guys don't remember, back in the day, Optical started Levolution, which was the stupidest fucking trend ever. Basically, it consisted of making your levels as empty and boring as possible, so there would be more generic levels, so that there would be more levels to play. And those levels ended up having really low object counts because of it, which was also part of his intention, which I think is cool, that he would try to push for lower object levels. But the way he did it, he's like, yo, make your levels simple and bland. Like, no, bro, that's stupid as hell. Yeah, it has 269,000 objects, but it's Levolution, you know? Fun fact, the Lost Existence is a Levolution level. It's 5 minutes long, and it has 30,000 objects. The second duel in this part is about 12 seconds long. It has twice the amount of objects. Oh, that feels so bad saying. But yeah, I did actually do some optimizing. When I first finished it, it was 330k, and then the upload failed thing happened. I tried optimizing it, and I brought it down to like 290 something k. I don't really remember, and it just wasn't working. It still wasn't working, and then I realized, oh hey, maybe it's the last part. So I redid it, and that brought it down from 300k, or a little under 300 to 269k. And it is actually exactly 269k, which is really funny, because I think what happened actually, it was like 3 objects below, so I just copy and pasted this one object a few times, just so I can have it exactly. Yeah, I'm stupid. That is Energy Rush. That is a 34-minute recording. I don't know how much of it's gonna make it in. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go play Energy Rush if you guys want. I think you should. I'm saying you should play it. It's right here. It's this a level. Okay, sure. Right here's the ID. ID 919744476. Go play it. Yeah.